Kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1791, Networking Riches Day 2. Yes, we had Networking Riches Day 2 today. It was awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love this program so much. I enjoy seeing those who come back for day 2, and then we get people that went at day 1 that show up for day 2, and it's just awesome. So you get an injection in your blood, you get some old blood. It's good. But like I said, yesterday in this Networking Riches, we have more new people in there, more new faces than we did people who have been multiple times, which was really, really cool to see. So today we did a recap of yesterday, which was awesome. People had gone home and they had thought about, well, probably already at home, had gone away that last yesterday and come back today with questions, or they'd gone through their notes and they had seen things that made an impact on them. And we got to discuss it all today. So it was really, really cool. And during this time, there's times when a question will get asked and Casey takes it into like a mini breakthrough, which is really, really cool. It's just an off-the-cuff thing. And we had a lot of fun with that today as well. So we got to do that. And then he went through his social media daily method of operations and showed people how to make a big impact on social media within a short amount of time with what they post and everything else. Well, not exactly what they post, but just with engagement and things. Then what do we do after that? Then we talked about follow-up sequence. This is one of my favorite segments as well. Casey gives several different methods that you can use this follow-up sequence, and then tells you to pick 6 and put them into the order that you would use them. And then you repeat it after 6, and it's 1 a month. And then you start back at number 1 again after 6 months and go through the next. So you've got a whole 12-month sequence there, which is really, really cool, and just really cool ways of doing things. And of course, I have my favorites that are on that list that I do. In fact, I just found a whole bunch of magazines, so I get to do one of my favorite things. I just got to remember where I put the envelopes and the stamps. Yes, but yeah, really good interaction today. Again, the follow-up sequences were really, really cool. And then we had 2 breakthrough zones after that before we finished for the day. And the 2 breakthrough zones were very, very good. They were totally different businesses. But of course, with anything, they cover as much. When they do the breakthrough zones, they make it as general as, even though it's specific for a business, they try to make it as general as possible so that you can apply just about anything that they say to just about any business. And the cool part of that is that, people will sit there and go, I can't do that in my business. You got to learn to switch it around, approach it with an open mind and say, how can I make this work? Because there's some really good ideas there. And it's sort of like, okay, they're talking about real estate. So how can I make it work for fill in the blank? And when you start asking the question is, how can I? Your brain goes into gear and goes, well, let's figure it out. And off you go on different ideas and things like that. And, I've got my notebook here full of notes and everything from today. And some things I know I have heard multiple times before. And it's like with every Networking Riches, I I've missed 2.5 in the last 10 years. The half was the day I spent beside Brad's bed when he was in hospital back in August of 2017. That was my half. But the cool part is that, and that's when he did it as a 1-day live event, full day. No, hang on. We still did 2 days then. Did we still do 2 days? No, I think it was 1 day full event. No, it was a 2-day event. Yeah, it was a 2-day because we reformat the room for the second day. It's been a while since we've had in person. But it doesn't matter how many times I have been to Networking Riches, and there is some stuff that stays the same, but there's been a lot of changes over the last 10 years as well with technology and how we do meetings and things like, doing offline and inline meetings and things like that. There's different ways that you approach them and different ways that you can network at them. How to network effectively is basically what you're learning how to do. And I've heard some of the stuff many, 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 many times. And it's just sort of like gone in, it's sunk in, and it's stayed there. And then the next time it comes in, it gets there, it just stays there. And then finally one day it goes, I got it. I finally got it. Or it could take one of the other coaches stating the same thing that's been stated over and over and over again, but they put it in a slightly different way. And I'm sort of like, oh, that's what he's been talking about. And I know that that has happened many times. There was what was the one thing? There was one thing that Casey was trying to get me to do, and I was like flat out refusing to do it. Like I did not see the value in doing this particular task. There was no way he was going to make me do it. I was dead set against it. And then he had another, and then there was another coach, one that he brought in and who put it in a different way. And I'm like, ooh. In fact, I actually went to this other coach's 3-day event, 2-day event, 3-day event. And because it was all about this particular topic. And I thought, let me go see what this has to say. And they put it in such a different way, plus had hands-on stuff that you had to do. And so I did this task that Casey had been trying to get me to do for ages. And I started getting the results out of it. And I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't so hard. What was going through my brain all the time? I was not ready to do it. I was not ready to hear it until that moment. You know, as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And this is the same. You can go to the same events over and over and over and over and over again. And you'll write down your notes over and over and over again. And you'll go back and you'll compare your notes to the last one. And you're writing down the same notes over and over. It's just not gelling. And then one day you get there, boom, that light bulb gets switched on. And you're like, I got it. Now I got it. I got it. So there are times that, you know, there's those aha moments. It doesn't matter how many times you've heard it before. It finally sunk in and that little light switch went click. And now you've got it. So that's why, and people go, why do you keep going? It's because I learn something new every time. Even though what I'm learning is something that's been repeated many times before, the brain hasn't engaged with it at that time until that particular moment. So you never know what you're going to pick up or where you're going to pick it up from. And you may hear the same things over and over and over again and go, yeah, whatever. But then either somebody will say the same thing in a different way and you'll get it, or you are now ready to hear it. And so when that same person says it again, the same way they've always said it, it finally clicks. And it's really cool because when you're in the gallery mode on the Zoom, I like to go into gallery mode every now and again on Zoom when we're doing these events because I like to watch people's faces, who's engaging and who's basically all I do is I go up the top where the view button is and I go down, I go hide everybody that's not on camera. And all of a sudden I'll go, you know, I can see those that are on camera a lot clearer than the little boxes because I suddenly go bigger because there's always a group of people that for whatever reason will not put their cameras on no matter what. Occasionally they'll put the camera on if they want to say something, and sometimes they'll leave the camera off if they want to say something. But you know, you get to see those a lot clearer, and you start seeing those little light switches clicking in people's eyes as they suddenly get something. And especially if you know that they've been before and they've heard that same information before, you suddenly see them getting it. And you know, sometimes some people, they know they need to know this stuff, but for whatever reason that's not clicking with them, so they start questioning it. And sometimes when Casey expands on what he taught, what he said, you suddenly see that light bulb moment go off. And it's like, now they've got it. They just needed a little bit more information. Boom, they're in there. They've got it. So that's what I love about Networking Riches is watching those light bulbs. But the breakthrough zones is where the light bulbs happen the most. And it's not just the person that's in the hot seat. You watch everybody else that's not in the hot seat. And you see these little light bulbs going off as they say, like, oh, I can do that. So if you go in with open, so whenever you go to an event, my advice, take it or leave it. My advice is to go in with an open mind and be ready to listen and learn and to ask the question, how can I make blip work in my business? And the blip will be whatever the topic is of that day, whatever they're talking about. How can I make that work in my business? Fill in the blank. How can I make bloop work in my business? Use that word again, bloop. I like that, bloop. How do you spell that? Bloop. Yeah, that's all in the way it's said though. Just writing it, yeah. So how can I make bloop work in my business? Bloop being the unknown quantity. Actually, that's what X is for, isn't it? I like bloop better than X. Anyway, that's it from me for today. We had thunderstorms again last night. So no watching TV last night. We just sat and read. Getting some good reading done these days. I'm enjoying getting into books again. It's been a while. Getting some good notes down on some books too. So we'll be sharing those. When I finish the books, we'll come in and share them with thoughts about the books and do like a book review or something. Maybe we could start a book club. That would be cool. Might have to think about that one. Anyway, so it's still warm here. It was 71% humidity this morning when we went for a walk. It was only like 80 degrees. Here's the cool part. It was 80 degrees this morning when we went for a walk, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be nice and cool. And I get out there and I'm like, yeah, but the humidity. And Zephy was really funny this morning because she has her set routine when we go. I try to upset her routine every morning. Like, she's got to take she has a 24-hour Claritin she has to take every single day. And I got a little pill pocket thingy that you put it in. And then I have my MetaPower packet thingamy-bob. And then I get organized, like put food in her bowl. I get my glasses, my sunglasses, I put them on the table because I can't put them on until the hat goes on. So they get put into the room out here. Put my pouch on with my phone in there and ID. And then buckle up the bum bag with the water bottles on it. I just have this little set routine. And usually most mornings, Zephy will know what I do, and she just follows me around and because she knows what's coming next and all that. And some days I just decide to do it out of order. Like this morning, I walk out to the kitchen, I go straight over, I get my little pouch that puts my phone and my ID in and put that on first. And then I walked over to where my glasses were because when I put my glasses next to my iPad, so I remember to unplug it. just weird things like this. Go back, pick up my glasses and my sunglasses, go put them onto the table that's in the room behind me. So I'm there ready to put my shoes on, and usually shoes are one of the last things I put on. Then I walk back into the kitchen. I then give her medication. Then I go give her food, and then I went back and I got my collagen thing made up, and my MetaPower collagen packet made up. Rinsed off my glass and stuck it in the dish rack, and then I went and put the harness on her. And then put my hat on, put my glasses on, put my sunglasses on, put the bum bag on, grabbed her leash, and we walked out the door. And she was sort of like, what is going on? So we get to, and she either goes straight ahead out of the front door and onto the path that goes in front of the porch, or she walks across the porch. But we always end up on the driveway, and then she goes down the driveway and takes a right. And off we go down to the park. So she did that this morning. We get down to the park. And she sees one of her new friends across the road, and she sits and she just stands there and waits till I tell her it's time to cross, because we get to the corner and we've got to look both ways. And I said, look to the left, look to the right. And sometimes she'll turn her head to the left, and sometimes she'll turn her head to the right, and sometimes she just looks straight ahead. And we get across the other side. And in the mornings, when we get across the other side, she just goes to the left and off we go into the park. In the evenings, she goes to the right and off we go that way. This morning, she gets across the road and she stands there and she goes 2 paces to the left. And then she goes 2 paces to the right. And I just looked around and then she goes back and stands in the middle. And then she looks to the left and she looks to the right. And I says, well, which way are we going to go? And she takes a step to the left and then turns around and starts walking to the right. And I'm like, I have never seen her be so indecisive on anything before. So we actually ended up walking our night route this morning, which was hilarious because she very rarely, I can count on one hand the number of times that we've done that in the last year, that she's decided to take the night route in the morning. But when we get out there tonight, she'll go the night route because it's nighttime, unless she decides to. So she's probably trying to screw with me as much as I screw with her sometimes with the routine. But I just thought it was so funny just how indecisive she was. She crosses the road, normally off we go, or we go that way. And she just stood there and went a couple of paces either way. And then I said, which way are we going? And she starts going one way, turns around and goes the other way. And I thought she would have followed her new friend off to the left. But no, she went to the right. And I was like, okay. So, but she had a bit of an upset stomach this morning too, because there was a couple of times during Network and Riches I had to get up because she wanted to go outside. So hopefully her stomach settled down a little bit, but she wasn't. Yeah. So, yeah, but she's been very quiet today. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but we'll see. We'll see. How you doing there, Zeffy girl? Ready for your walk? She's just up. So yeah. But anyway, we are off to go for a walk. It's 109 earlier, which is 40 something for those on the centigrade scale. It's like 40, 109 is like 42, I think. 41, 42. I know 104 is 40 degrees Celsius. So we're in the 40s. It's hot. Let's just sum it up that way. But that's it from us for tonight. So we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Are we watching a movie tonight? Yeah, high today was 111. So, hey, Bridget. Good to see you. Let's see, 111 and Celsius is 44. So, yeah, it was a little toasty today. But oh, and my sister-in-law sent me this really cool picture. So my nephew plays for the Evansville Otters. It's one of the minor league baseball teams, and they did a stand up to cancer night, and they each had a sign there in front of them of who they have lost to cancer in their families. And he had his maternal grandmother on there, name on there, and Brad's and had Uncle Brad written on it. And I just thought that was so cool. And then I was able to read some of the other signs there too. And, everybody had like their dad on there or a mum or a sister or a name. We don't know what the relationship was, but I thought that was pretty cool that they had done that as their stand up to cancer thing, honoring those who had passed from cancer. So that was really cool. And it got me. Yep. So, but anyway, I am out of here. I'm going to wait. Let's see. I'm going to wait about an hour for the temperature to go down a degree. You're probably all thinking I'm crazy and I'm nuts. Yeah, trust me, a degree makes a difference when you're going for a walk in the evenings. It's 108 outside right now. It hasn't shifted much. But the humidity is down to 20%. It was 71% this morning. It is now down to 20%. So it's going to be a nice, dry, hot walk. We've got cold water with us, so we are good. We've got these little mini flasks. We've got one's a 12-ounce flask, which is for Zeffy's water. It's got a little spout that you can pour on it. And then the other flask has a straw on it, and that's mine. It's 15 ounces. And we just take those for a walk. And even though in the evenings our walk's only 10 to 15 minutes, we still stop and have some water along the way because I keep an eye on Zeffy, and I know when she needs to have water. But even then, she doesn't drink much when we're out walking, and then she comes home and just like guzzles the water down. She won't do it while she's walking, but she'll take some while she's walking, but not a lot. But anyway, we're out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Are we watching a movie tonight? I haven't decided yet. We may go watch Sabrina because it's still sitting in the DVD player, but I'm not sure. So if we do, we'll let you guys know, and we'll talk about the movie tomorrow night. But otherwise, I'll find something else. Hey, Gonera.